What's going on, everybody, and welcome to Rock Gamer, and it's time for my DLC review of the week. And I apologize it's not up sooner. We had the patch come out yesterday. That took like an hour and a half to download for me, and then I had to go out last night, so I didn't have a chance to play these songs. And I do have a review today. So the first song is Between the Buried and Me, Coma Machine, and I'm going to warn you guys, all three of these songs are excruciatingly difficult on drums and guitar. That's not to say they're not bad, they're not good songs. They're actually really good songs if you want a challenge. And the drums on this song sort of alternate between a really tricky part, which is the fills, which are absolutely insane in this song, and a really easy like crash and snare beat, which you see here mixed in with a kick drum. This part's pretty easy, but then the fills will just like totally challenge your drumming skills. I found the guitar was definitely a lot easier than I expected, but it's still difficult. It's mostly really fast single notes with, some chugging two-finger chords thrown in. I found the ending does sort of die off a bit. It does have some sustains thrown in and kind of takes you out of the experience a bit. That being said, it's still a really good song on guitar. I found the bass was kind of a little mediocre. It's probably the worst instrument out of all of them. It just sort of like chugs along. It never really gets exciting. It's just kind of like, okay, I'll play the bass, and there's a couple notes here and there across the fretboard. There's a couple interesting parts, but I thought it was mediocre. Let's go into our next song of the week. Next song is Here Apparent by the band Opeth. I believe this is the second Opeth song we've gotten. This is by far the hardest song on drums, I think, of the week. The drums really start out really slowly, and you're like, oh, when is the song going to get difficult? And then it just gets really super difficult. They throw in a ton of kick drum, and then it gets even harder. You play a super hard pattern like on the ride cymbal, and there's really, really fast drum fills like all around the kit. Definitely a good song to get for drums if you're looking for a challenge. The bass, I would say, is just not as strong. It kind of starts out quite boring, and then it gets harder. And there still are some enjoyable moments in the bass. I hated the alt strumming on the green note during certain times. There's also sections in the bass where you're sort of standing around and doing nothing. The drums have that too, but I found that the rest of the song sort of makes up for that. I'd say the bass is pretty mediocre. The guitar, the first 2 minutes are absolutely boring. It's just like sustain notes, and then with a couple, single notes thrown into. And then there's some really weird parts, like where you'll be playing the main riff, and there's like really quick sustain bars that we saw in Rock Band 3. We've seen some of them in Rock Band 4 as well, but I've never seen a sustain bar thrown in for like such a short period of time on a riff. And then you get to the guitar solo, which is incredibly difficult, and so many hammer-ons and pull-offs. That being said, I found the guitar actually quite enjoyable. I definitely recommend you guys pick this song up on guitar and drums. Let's go into our final song of the week. Our last song of the week is Nevermore by Symphony X. This is actually the only band I'd never really heard of out of the songs that came out this week. And this one is probably one of the easier songs on drums. Now, granted, these are all difficult songs on drums. I found this one is probably the most easiest to play. It's really well varied, lots of fills around the kit. There's basically three main beats you'll be playing that they sort of change a bit throughout the song, like the bass pedal placement's like a little different in each part, especially when you're playing the hi-hat and the snare pattern. I'd say that I felt like the song was maybe like one level over tiered, but I mean, that was just my feeling on it. I still feel it's a great song that you guys should pick up if you're looking for a challenging drum song. I found that the bass was actually really difficult. It sort of follows a lot of what the guitar is doing, the guitar being obviously harder than this song. But I also found, I think the bass is a really good instrument. It's probably one of the better bass songs of the week. The guitar is super hard. The intro has like so many hammer-ons and pull-offs that your fingers literally have to be everywhere at once across the fretboard. I found that the first third of the song guitar is sort of built upon this riff that I'm just talking about, where it's like, a lot of hammer-ons and pull-offs. The solo was ridiculously hard. I did have a little bit of less fun with the song on guitar just because I found that the first half is like a little repetitive. It's probably the hardest song on guitar, I would say, of the week. And I would say only buy these songs, guys, if you really want a challenge on these instruments. If you're like a novice player, I don't really know if you're going to get the most out of these songs. I mean, it would be fun to probably play these songs with the freestyle guitar solos if you don't want to live and play through those really hard guitar solo parts. But that does it for this week, guys. Thanks for watching. And make sure you subscribe for all things rhythm gaming related. Take care.